Hello, my loves, and welcome back to a brand new episode of The Embodied Woman. This is a very special episode because if you have not already found out the news via my Instagram, you're going to find out right now. I am pregnant. I am pregnant. I have been pregnant for about 3 months now. And I just officially announced it to the public. And it was so much fun to receive all of the love that I did and all of the love that baby received. Like, this baby is so incredibly loved already. Like, oh my God, I have chills all over my body as I even just say that. Um, I cannot believe that this is my life. I cannot believe that I am recording this podcast and telling you this. It's insane. It's wild and it's so beautiful. I am so excited about this. So, aside from the announcement, if this is total news to you, I decided that I wanted to host a little Q&A with my Instagram people, my community there, to see like what y'all are curious about. I was going to record this podcast anyways because I want to share my journey through the first trimester, and I'll probably share every trimester. I'll share a lot because, as I always say, my life leads my business, and this is a massive part of my life, and I cannot wait to share everything with you guys. You know that I am so open and so transparent and just tell y'all everything that I'm going through, and I'm just excited for this to be a new element of my life, my business, my brand, and what I get to bring to the podcast as well and through my content. So, again, I was planning on already telling you guys everything, but then I put a question box up on my Instagram stories, and you guys asked so many questions, and they honestly answer like everything that I wanted to talk about and more anyways. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it because why not? All right, let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the basic ones, which are fairly easy and straightforward. How far along are you? At the day of recording this, I am 13 weeks and 2 days, I believe. 13 weeks and 2 days. At the time of uploading this, I will be in my 14th week. So I will be like officially done with the first trimester. Woo! Finally feeling like myself, kind of. Not fully, but we're getting there. So yeah, I am going to be 14 weeks at the time of you listening to this. How am I feeling? As of right now, I feel good, but I'm not going to lie. It has not been freaking easy. It has been really, really rough. When I first found out, I was 5 weeks pregnant, and I felt great. I was actually like in the process of doing 75 hard. I was working out twice a day. I felt so great. I did not think I was pregnant because, usually there's some sort of sign like you're tired or your boobs hurt or something. And I honestly did not have any of that. I felt so great. The only thing was I didn't have my period. So I was like, that's a little weird, but I'll tell more about that story later. So everything started off really great. And then around week 7, things took quite a drastic turn. I was really sick. I lost a lot of weight, which is very normal in the first trimester. But when you're already very slim, like I am, it makes a significant difference and it looks really scary. And it wasn't great. Had a lot of morning sickness, a lot of food aversion. Like, the thought of food literally made me gag. Wild. Never thought that was going to be a thing in pregnancy because I was like, I always thought that when you're pregnant, you just want to eat because you're eating for two. And this was like, I could not even handle the thought of 90% of food. So that was really hard. But as far as like how I'm feeling mentally, I am so beyond grateful. It's almost like every single symptom that you have, it just feels worth it. I don't know. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's like you feel like your worst version of yourself, like you're over the toilet, throwing up and shitting at the same time version of yourself. And yes, that happened to me many times. And yet, like all throughout it, I just was like, oh, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. And so that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling just so grateful, and I feel so excited and honored, blessed. Like I know not everyone's journey is as straightforward as mine has been in their pregnancy and in their fertility. And I honestly just feel really, really grateful. I also feel the sense of like, I just feel so proud of myself, like proud of my body, not even myself, because I didn't really do much. I just feel really proud of my body because if I'm being quite honest, I did not think that it was going to happen as quickly as it did. One of the questions here is, was this a plan or was this a surprise? And it was kind of both, because I had a little bit of a fear that it was going to take quite a long time for me to get pregnant. And I don't know where this came from. I actually kind of do. I was always told growing up, because I have epilepsy, that, like, don't get pregnant. And so I had this fear of getting pregnant my whole life. And I thought that it was going to like affect how long it took. And back in about August, September of 2022, Tony and I decided that we did want a family. That's a story that I'll get into a little bit later too. But we decided that we wanted a family. But I was told that it could take about a year on average to get pregnant. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and let's start now. I was like, let's wait until I get back from Europe, because you guys know I did my whole Europe trip and I didn't want to be pregnant then. So I was like, let's wait till I get back from Europe and then we'll start trying and just see what happens. And again, I was very much under the impression that it was going to take a while. So, we started in November, and in November, I thought I was pregnant because my period was 6 days late. And so, yeah, I was convinced. I was like, oh my fucking God, I'm pregnant. Holy shit. What is happening? How did this happen so fast? And then I took a test and it was negative. And then coincidentally, I had an OB appointment the following day. So I did a test there and they were like, nope, you're not pregnant. And then I ended up getting my period. So I was like, all right, well, my mind is just fucking with me, it's one of those things when when you are starting to try every single symptom, you're like, oh my God, I have to be pregnant. But then after feeling that feeling of oh my God, I could be pregnant, and then kind of feeling a little bit of a letdown, but also a relief. I set the intention of I'm just going to allow it. I'm not going to try. My holistic nutritionist, she's also a psychic medium. And when we first met, she was like, you're an all or nothing type of woman, immediately within 10 minutes of meeting me. And I was like, you nailed that one. And so I had brought up the whole conversation around pregnancy, and she was like, you just need to play. You just need to let it be and let play. And the first month I didn't do that. I really tried. I was like, okay, I'm ovulating. Let's do this. And then I wasn't. And then I let that go because I knew that I didn't want this to be forced. I didn't want it to be something that, was stressful. I just wanted it to be. And I set that very clear intention. And then at that point, I was so confused about my period and my cycle because I was 6 days late, and I've never been 6 days late in my life. Like, I am very regular in my period. So to be 6 days late, I was like, oh girl, where are you at now? Because I track my cycle and I'm very in tune with my body. But Tony and I just didn't really think about it, and we just had fun. And then come January 10th, it was the day that I started with my mastermind ladies, which was a really cool day, like kicking off a new container that I just birthed. And then I was FaceTiming my sister, and I told her, I was like, yeah, like I'm 5 days late again. It's so freaking weird, but like, I don't think I'm pregnant. Last month I was 6 days late and I ended up getting my period. So like, I just think my period is being a little wonky right now. I don't think I'm pregnant. And she was like, well, why don't you just take a test? And I was like, because like, I feel like I would know. Right. I feel like I would know. I was like, I'm working out twice a day. I feel great. Like, I have no signs except for being late, but I was late last month. And she was like, Sarah, just take a freaking test and rule it out. So I was like, all right, fine. So I'm FaceTiming her, and I I pee on the stick and I put it on the counter, and I walk away for 30 seconds, like literally not long at all. And 2 dark lines showed up on that little stick. And I was in pure shock. Like, what? Because I seriously did not think I was pregnant. So to answer the question of was this planned or was this a surprise, it was both. Like, we didn't think it was going to happen as fast as it did. And we weren't not trying, like we were definitely having unprotected sex, and we were open to the possibility of that happening. We just didn't think it was going to happen like that, But oh my God, it was, yeah, it's been such an incredible journey. And like, honestly, the timing of it could not be more aligned and more perfect. Like, even with the timing of the conference, like I could not have hosted the conference while in my first trimester. Like, there's no freaking way. But now that I'm in my second trimester and feeling more myself, feeling more energized, feeling more alive, and feeling so connected to this new version of myself, like it just makes the conference even more special. So anyways, that kind of answered a lot of questions all in one, of like how I'm feeling and was the baby a surprise and how I found out. So that covers 3 of the questions. Okay, another one of the questions is, what have your symptoms been? And I actually have this I've been keeping track in a really unique way, because I want to be able to reflect back on this. And I want my baby to be able to reflect back on this. So I have both a digital form of keeping track, but I also have like a journal, a pregnancy journal. But around like what symptoms I've had, I will say that every single week has been different. So I'll just kind of go through like the main ones. And then I also have a list of weird symptoms that I had that I didn't even know existed. So I'll share those as well. So some weird or some symptoms I've had has obviously been exhaustion. I actually went on a social media break. You guys may remember that. And the biggest reason was because all I could do was lay in bed. Oh, excuse me. All I could do was lay in bed and scroll. And I felt like it was just not very healthy mentally and physically. I wanted to like be present during this pregnancy. I didn't want to just lay in bed and scroll. I'm like, if I'm going to lay in bed, I'm going to lay in bed and pull some cards and like write love letters to my baby. I don't just want to scroll and compare myself. So I like went off of social media, and it was so amazing. What else? I have had a lot of food aversion, which I mentioned earlier. That was really intense. I swear I'm not kidding when I say like 90% of food, the thought of it made me want to gag. Lots of morning sickness, lots of diarrhea and constipation as well. Like I said, I ended up losing a lot of weight from the combination of like nausea, food aversion, morning sickness. That was, all day in the middle of the night, like all the fucking time. So lots of that. What else? I'm just looking at my list here. I had sore boobs for like the beginning of it, but now like they're kind of gone. They were swollen for a little bit, but now they're not really that swollen anymore. So which I'm kind of bummed about because they'd be really cool. Like maybe I can manifest them blowing up in the next couple of weeks so that at the conference, it's like, ow, we'll see. I haven't been very mood swingy. Like I've cried a lot over beautiful things. Like if I see something on Instagram or TikTok and like it's a beautiful video, that makes me cry. But I haven't been like nasty or mean, which I know a lot of women are during their pregnancy. I haven't luckily been like that. I've been like just really grateful with especially my partner. But I have not been able to tolerate people's bullshit. I'll tell you that. Like, I don't know what it is, but when I got pregnant, and maybe like some of you mamas out there can relate to this, I just don't have the energy or the tolerance for any bullshit. Like, I think this has been such an antidote to me people pleasing because I'm just like, absolutely not. Like, I will not be people pleasing. I will not be like bending over backwards. Like, I have cut a lot of that shit out. And I've also recognized who like the real people, the real friends in my circle are and the ones who are not. It's very revealing. It's not necessarily a symptom, but it's something that has happened during this pregnancy that has been really interesting just to like really realize like who's there for you and who's not and who supports you and who doesn't. And yeah, and also just like not being able to tolerate people's bullshit. That's the easiest way I can say it. What else? There was a time I think it was about week 9 where I was definitely at my worst physically. It was the day after my birthday actually, where I couldn't keep anything down, including fluids, and I ended up having to go to the ER and get pumped with fluids because that's like really important, obviously, for you and the baby. And that was really scary. Just not being able to keep anything down and like literally feeling like you are dying. Like that's how I felt that week. I was like, I literally think I'm dying. That's how shitty I felt. And like, it's like you just somehow get through it, like you just find this like inner willpower to get through it. But that was really intense. That was the worst week of my life for sure. Like it was really hard. And that really affected me mentally because when you're not able to eat, when you're not able to drink, when you feel as poorly as you do, like all of those things affect your mental health. And so I was in this like really dark place for a week of like just feeling so disconnected from myself. I just felt really disconnected from myself and I couldn't show up. And you guys know that like I don't just do this work to make money. Like I do this work because it lights me up so fucking much. It literally fills my soul. And to not have been able to do that for, fully for like 3 weeks, but like none at all for 1 whole week, like it was really, really rough on me mentally. But then again, all at the same time, like it still felt really worth it. Some other symptoms that I've had have been, I had cramping at the very beginning, bloating, which is normal for me. I've always had bloating, like even when I wasn't pregnant. What else? Okay. I feel like those are like all of the main ones, right? Like morning sickness, nausea, constipation, exhaustion, food aversion, like I basically had it all. Now, some weird ones that I had that I didn't know were a thing, and maybe this will be helpful for you. One is clogged ears. Super weird, but it's a thing. I remember I was like having a conversation. I went to an event actually. I was at the what was it? The Galentine's Day event, and I was having a conversation with someone, and like I literally kept like trying to pop my ears, and she probably thought I was insane. And I was like, I'm sorry, but my ears are just really clogged. And then I like researched it and come to find out like it's a pregnancy symptom. The feeling of like literally not wanting to leave your bed. Like I did not want to leave my bed no matter what. And that's very odd for me because I mean, you guys probably know, like I am very ambitious, very motivated, very self-disciplined. Like I go to the gym every day. I, eat really well. Like, I'm very, very not the person who lays in bed all day. And I definitely, I definitely was, and sometimes still am. But I'm pregnant, so I have an excuse. What else? Zero patience and low tolerance for people's bullshit. Already said that. Lingering sour taste in my mouth. That was a weird one. Like if I ate something, that flavor would turn like a sour flavor in my mouth and then just like stay there for hours. And it was so gross. It was so nasty. I hated that feeling. Luckily, that's kind of gone now, but God, that was like, I hated that taste. Super chapped lips and dry skin. I mean, hello, winter in Colorado. Another reason why I'm moving back to California. If you didn't know that was another big announcement. But also it's a pregnancy symptom as well. Along with bloody noses. I never get bloody noses, and I've had like 3 or 4 of them since being pregnant. And then with cravings, and I'll tell you guys the cravings that I've had. They're very interesting because my imagination of cravings in pregnancy is like you have this feeling of like really, really wanting something and it doesn't go away until you have it. No, not how cravings work in pregnancy. For me, it was I would be craving something, and then 20 minutes later, after Tony like goes out of his way to go to the store to get it and bring it back home, I would be disgusted by it. Like, absolutely not. I cannot eat this. So I have so many like leftover snacks that I had one time and now I can't even stand the thought of, or like they sound disgusting to me. So that's very weird. I definitely didn't imagine cravings to be like that. Okay, another weird symptom is, and I don't know if this happens to everyone or what, or if it's just because I'm fairly slim. But I guess there's like an artery that is now like connected to like, I don't know if it's basically an artery that runs down my stomach to the baby. And I can see my stomach pulse. Like it looks like a heartbeat, but it's not the baby's heartbeat. It's just an artery pumping blood to the baby or something like that. But you can see my stomach pulsing. It is freaking wild. Tony and I were like tripping out because we're like, is that the baby's heartbeat? I don't think we're supposed to see that. Like we were totally tripping out. So I like did a bunch of research. I'm like, why is my stomach pulsing? And I guess it's just like an artery or a vein. I don't know. So yeah, those have been most of my symptoms. Again, that's only been the first trimester. We'll see what comes in the second trimester. I'm sure I still have a lot more to experience. Okay, weird cravings. I personally don't think I've had like really weird cravings yet. Again, I was really, really struggling with more food aversion than cravings at the beginning. But I have started to crave some stuff. Like I have craved cucumbers with salt and lemon. That was random. I craved Cold Stone ice cream. Like I literally just wanted a birthday cake remix from Cold Stone. And then again, like we went and got it and like I had a little bit of it. I was like, meh, I don't really want it anymore. I had cravings of, oh gosh, what else? Queso, like definitely craved a lot of cheese and queso. Strawberries. So the thing that I have had consistently every single day has been strawberries. When I was super, super nauseous and had a lot of food aversion, I would literally just suck on strawberries until I like ate the whole thing. And now every day I have like a strawberry and blueberry smoothie. So that's been like a consistent sort of, it's not like a craving. Like I'm not like, oh my God, I need strawberries, but it's just something that I've consistently eaten that has been really yummy. Best way to put it. I craved frosted flakes at some point, and then I just got turned off by them. I have not really craved a lot of healthy food, if I'm being honest, which I wish I did, but I've been craving a lot of junk food. It is what it is. And, with the food aversion, I'm like, at this point, I will eat anything that I want. Anything that comes to mind that sounds good, I will eat it because I just need to eat at this point. And I think that's kind of it for the cravings. Like I said, I haven't really had that many crazy cravings. Just yeah, just a lot of like food aversion. So the cravings are just kind of starting now. Okay, another question is how has Tony been in this experience? You guys, I think that I'm gonna have to have a whole freaking podcast episode, maybe even with him, on how he has been with this entire experience because words cannot describe how truly incredible Tony has been. Every step of the way, every moment. Like he is so good to me. He's already so good to baby. Like, oh, it gets me so emotional. It gets me so emotional. I think I will record a whole one and like invite him onto the podcast again and we can talk about it. But he's just been so supportive. He thanks me every day for he says like thank you for this sacrifice. And I'm like, it's not a sacrifice, it's an honor. Like I'm honored I get to do this. And he's like, but thank you. He thanks me every day. The other day he like called me on his way home from work and he was like, I'm so exhausted today. It was such a long day. And I was like, oh, well, just come home and, let's relax. And he was like, okay. He's like, are you craving anything? Do you need anything? And I was like, no, baby, not if you're exhausted. Like, just come home. And he literally is like, babe, you don't get it. It's literally an honor to go do those things for you. What do you want? And I was like, oh, what did I say to him? Oh, Eggo waffles and blueberries. That's what I wanted. So he went to the store and got me Eggo waffles and blueberries. Like he does not look at any of this like a lot of men do, like, oh God, I got to take care of my pregnant wife or whatever. Like he's so in it, like he's treating it like such a sacred duty that he gets to do, and that it truly is his honor. And he's so excited, like I have a lot of behind the scene footage about like going to our first appointment and hearing the heartbeat for the first time, seeing the baby for the first time, seeing how much they've grown. And like, you guys can see and hear in his voice how in love he is with being a father already. Like, it's really cool. So in short, he's been undescribably incredible. Okay. Some other questions. I got asked this one quite a bit. Do you know if you're having a girl or boy? Are you going to be finding out, et cetera, et cetera? At this time, I do not know if it's a girl or boy. However, we just did the NIPT test, which test for any birth defects or anything like that. My doctor really wanted me to do it because of my epilepsy. He felt like it was important for me to, just make sure everything was healthy and good with the baby. And so we did the NIPT test and everything was normal. But what's really cool about doing the NIPT test, which I feel like I would have done it anyways, just because it comes with this, you get to find out the gender. So most people, I guess, have to wait till like 20 weeks. But if you do the NIPT test, it's literally just they draw blood from your arm and tell you what the gender is and make sure everything is obviously healthy with like all the birth defects and that stuff. Make sure everything is genetically normal. And so we have the results. We now can know if it is a boy or a girl. However, we are doing a gender reveal. So there's only one person who knows, my friend Olivia, who is curating the gender reveal for us. And we will be finding out on March 25th. And you bet your bottom dollar that you will be finding out very shortly after. I also got asked, do I have a feeling on what it might be? Yes and no. Let me tell you the story, actually. This is a long episode, but you guys know, like, I need to share all of this with you. Okay, so I have a feeling. However, let me share this story with you. So before I knew I was pregnant, Tony and I were driving from California to Colorado, or Colorado to California, one of those two, because our flights got canceled during the whole Southwest fiasco, and we ended up having to drive. While I was driving during the holidays, I saw this sign, like a literal sign while driving that said, like, call this number or blah, blah, blah. And it was Sky 888. And you know, when you like get a sign and you know that it's a sign immediately, that's how I felt with this. And again, I was pregnant during this time and had no freaking clue. So I saw that and I was like, oh, like, I think that's a sign that that's my spirit baby trying to communicate with me. Sky 888. Because of the name that I have for a girl that I really want. And then 888 angel number, right? So then it kind of became a thing of like, every time I saw the number 888 or saw Sky, like I would be like, that's my spirit baby communicating with me. And then we were at the rock climbing gym again, had no freaking idea I was pregnant. And there was this little girl who, like, I can't describe it, but like, I just felt her essence and her energy. And both Tony and I were like, that's the energy of our child. Like, she was just this like outgoing, like wild, kind of fearless, like, you know, she was going up the wall and she was like, take a picture, Dad. And she did the shakas. And like, I can't describe it to you, but both Tony and I felt it. Like, we felt like we were in the presence of at least the essence and the energy of our child, our future child. And again, we didn't know that we were pregnant. And then to add on top of that, the day that I found out I was pregnant, I was pulling cards. And I pulled, one of the cards that I pulled was Sweet Soul Rising. And what's significant about that card is a name, a potential name that we have, that for a girl. And so when we first found out we were pregnant, I was very, very convinced that we were having a girl because of all of the signs that I saw before, right? The sky, the card I pulled, the little girl that we met at the rock climbing gym. Like, I was like, oh my God, we're for sure having a girl. But then things kind of started to take a turn a little bit. And, you know, during a lot of this downtime for myself in the first trimester, I've been doing a lot of Pinteresting and a lot of, you know, building the nursery and picking out clothes and all of that stuff. I started to naturally and organically plan for a boy. I literally, like, if you look at my Pinterest board, you're like, oh, she's having a boy. I didn't even think about starting to plan for a girl. And so then I was like, wait, I don't even know if I'm having a boy. Why am I planning for a boy? I don't even know if I'm having a boy. So then I was like, oh shit, like, is this my intuition telling me that it's going to be a boy? Because again, like, I had no reason to start planning for a boy just except for what I naturally started to save to my Pinterest boards and stuff like that. So that was really interesting. So to answer the question on if I have an inkling or if I know what it is, I don't. I am so confused because I had the initial feeling that it was a girl, but then I started organically and naturally planning for a boy. So I don't know. And I'm okay with that. I'm very, very okay with that. At this point during this time, I'm starting to think that it's a boy, but who knows? We'll find out very, very soon. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to find out. And we are going to be finding out like sooner. We're not going to wait until the baby's here. Like, I want to know yesterday. Okay, the next question. Do you have names picked out? Yes, we do. We don't plan on sharing them until the baby's here. So yeah, you'll just have to wait and see. Another question. And now, okay. Now we're starting to get into more of like some juicy stuff that you guys put in here that I didn't even like think about asking, or not asking, but sharing, because they're very, very important for you, for me, for us. So I want to thank those who ask these types of questions because they are very, very important. Oh, I missed one. But I also think it kind of goes hand in hand. So these are more related to like how becoming a mother is going to affect my company, how this is going to affect the embodied woman. So let's dive into it. The first question that I said kind of ties into this is, when did you know you wanted to get pregnant at this time? And I actually have a story about this. And the story speaks to the power of sacred union and the power of sex and how truly divine sexual energy is, and just like being in union with a partner. So for those of you who don't know this, I never was really sure or certain that I wanted to be a mom. I always went back and forth of like, yeah, like I kind of have baby fever, but like I'm cool off that. Like I maybe would not want to be a mom. And I always kind of thought like, I think I would be a really great, cool, rich aunt. Like that's been my role. I do that role really well. And I just thought that I could be that and be happy and fulfilled. So it's always been this like back and forth, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of limbo on whether or not I wanted kids at all. And then in August, this is a lot of information, but I'm gonna share it. In August, and I think actually Tony and I talked about this in our last podcast episode together, but I might be wrong, but I'm almost positive we did. Tony and I had we had sex. And it was the type of sex that brings you closer to God. That's the best way I can describe it. We didn't try to do anything special. Like we weren't like, let's have a tantric sexual experience together. It was literally just like, we're about to go to bed and we wanted to be intimate together. And for whatever reason, it was the most sacred, powerful, enlightening sex we have both of us ever had in our lives. There's no words, but all I know is after the experience, I immediately knew in my heart and soul that I wanted him to be my husband, that I wanted him to be the father of my children, and that I was ready for children. I know that sounds crazy. To think that like just having sex could change your entire perspective on life. But it did. And like, there was not a doubt there was no doubt except for a little bit of ego that was like, are you sure? Like, how did that just happen? Are you sure? And so during that time, I was like, you know what? Just to make sure, I'm going to book a solo flight to Europe, and I'm going to travel the world, and I'm going to make really sure that this is the next step that I want to take in my life. And I got back, I went to Europe, and the entire time it never left me, that feeling. And when I came back, Tony and I both felt the same way, and we were on the same page about starting to try. And then we did. So yeah, as far as the question of like, how did I know it was the right time? Sex can lead to a lot of things, including a spiritual awakening around what you want in your life. So that's what happened for me. And I also think that as a team, Tony and I just knew that there would never be a right time. Like, we could have waited. We could have waited a lot longer. We could have waited till, I had a 7-figure business that ran itself. We could have waited until after the conference. We could have waited. Like, we had all these reasons to wait, but like, we both knew that there wasn't going to be a right time. And we felt ready to start trying. It just was a feeling. Yeah. So that's how I knew I wanted to get pregnant at this time. Hope that answers that question. I know it's a kind of a weird answer, but that's my truth. Okay, the next question the next question is, how has been launching the conference alongside your pregnancy been? This is a great question. I always think that you understand timing, divine timing in hindsight. And that has never been more true. And I have to say that I can never doubt the timing of my life ever again after all of the evidence that I have had during this season of my life. So it has been incredible and trying. That's the best way to put it. Incredible because I get to do this. I get to go bigger and play bigger and be courageous and be bold and impact and serve and do all of these things while I'm growing baby. And you guys know that I speak a lot about like being the one who ends these generational curses and patterns. And you guys know that I am the embodied woman, right? Around like, be the embodiment of your desires and who you want to be. And I just think it's really cool to be being bigger than I ever have before, playing bigger, thinking bigger, being more trusting, being more confident, more authentic. How cool that I get to code my baby's DNA with this. How cool that I get to embody all of this and the baby gets to experience. Oh my God, burp, sorry. That's another, I guess, pregnancy symptom is gas, both sides. Yeah, like how cool is it that I get to be the one who's like, yeah, literally coding their DNA with courage and power and service and love and overcoming fears. And, like, so that part of it is really incredible to know that they get to be rocking out on stage with me in that room. They get to overcome these fears with me. They get to surrender with me. They get to play bigger with me. So freaking cool. Such an honor. And testing in the sense of, I haven't been able to give the launch my all. I haven't been able to hold the energy because I've had to hold the energy for my current clients, who I've been giving my all to. I have been having to hold the energy of myself and my baby. So I will say that I was not able to give this launch my all. And at the same time, it was a really like good test of like, can I hold the energy and like energetically without taking the actions when you can't physically take the actions? Can you still trust when you're not showing up as much as you would like? Can you still open and receive without working as hard as you think you need to? So it's been really like testing of my beliefs. And yeah, I mean, it hasn't been easy. I wish I could have done more, to be honest with you. There's a lot of things that, I had planned on doing that I just did not have the energy for. But at the same time, like I did a lot and I need to give myself credit for what I have done during this launch. And also just trust that the actions that I have taken are enough. And whoever's meant to be in that room will be in that room, regardless of the exact amount of people I originally wanted or, whatever, or planned on. So, yeah, that's how it has been. That was a great question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, moving on. Is this going to change how you show up online? Yeah, 100%. 100% is going to change how I show up online. Because my life leads my business and I have so many new things to share with you guys. I'm on a completely new adventure and in a new chapter. Of course, it's going to affect how I show up online in the sense of like, I'll probably be sharing a lot of mom content. I'll definitely be sharing my bump dates. Like there's just a new evolution of me. So like of course I'm going to be showing up differently. My content's going to take a little bit of a turn. I want to share this journey. Like no doubt. There's no way I can't share this journey. That was something that was really, really hard for me in the first trimester, was not being able to fully show up authentically and like tell you guys what's going on in my life because I always do. So like to keep such a big secret and to like not be able to say like this is why I'm taking a social media break, or this is why I'm not really feeling well today. This is why I'm not showing up as much as I used to. This is why I'm not launching any other programs. Like it was really hard to just not be fully expressed and share everything that I'm going through or was going through. And now that I have, like, I've given myself permission to share and to speak about it and be open with it. Like the floodgates are freaking open. I'm going to be sharing everything. I have been wanting to share everything from day one with you guys. So like, of course, I am going to share everything and I cannot wait. Like, I also have been really excited about my fashion during like maternity fashion. Like, what does that look like? And how do I express myself? And what do I wear? And where am I getting stuff? And yeah, so like for sure, expect a change in content and how I show up online. I still plan on showing up, but like, I still plan on providing value, of course, and serving you all. But like, yeah, there's definitely going to be a shift. This next question was something I had to sit with because I can't say that it didn't cross my mind, but it didn't fully like cross my mind. So the question is, do you have any fears around how this will affect your business or income? And so what I mean by it crossed my mind, but it didn't, is like it crossed my mind in the sense of like, wow, like how is this going to affect my business? Like, what does this mean for my brand? Where is my company headed now? But I was never afraid. I was never fearful of like, oh my God, like, what does this mean? Like, it never came from a place of fear. It more came from a place of curiosity. I have been so in trust, so in peace that I don't think that fear around my business or money, like it hasn't even been an option. Like I have developed such a strong relationship with my trust in money, my trust in the universe, my trust in timing, my trust in myself, that there's just no point in fearing. And like, so I just haven't. Like, there's never been a fear or a worry, but there has been a curiosity. And I will be recording at some point an entire episode of what this does mean for the Embodied Woman brand, where I can see it going now, because there is going to be changes. I know that for sure. But I also can't really tell you, like, set in stone, this is where we're going until my baby is here. And I think a lot of moms can relate to this. Like, you can try to plan all you want, but you won't know what your new life is like until it's here. You won't know until your baby is in your arms and you're like, okay, this is what I have the capacity for. This is what I desire to do. This is where I want to go. Like, I just can't plan this, which has been really hard because you guys know I'm such a planner in a lot of ways. But I can't plan what my life or business is going to look like or feel like after the baby's here. So I have a plan up until September when baby is due. And I will keep you guys in the loop. Of course, I will keep you in the loop. However, I don't know what my life or business looks like until up until September. I mean, I don't know what my life or business looks like after September, but I'm excited to find out, and I'm excited to share, and I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. I trust. Like, I really freaking trust. There's been so many instances, like why I went to Europe by myself and traveled for 2.5 weeks, you know, why I had that experience, why I launched my mastermind when I did, and the timing in which I did. I never have bi-weekly calls for group containers, but I intuitively knew, like, you're only going to have energy for bi-weekly calls. So that's what it's going to be. I didn't know that I was going to be pregnant. I had no idea, but intuitively I was being led to have bi-weekly calls. So it's like, I trusted that. I knew that I didn't want to launch like 1,000 things in 2023 like I did in 2022. You know, I was in constant launch mode in 2022, and I knew that I didn't want that for 2023. I don't know how or why I knew I didn't want that, but I just knew I didn't. So like, there's been so many things that have given me signs that I am so fucking safe to trust in this process. I'm so fucking safe to surrender. I'm so safe to feel confident in my timeline that I cannot fear. Like, I literally cannot feel fear around my timing or what it means for my business. Like, I just trust, which is such a cool place to be in. So I hope that that answers that question. And I believe that was the last one. Let me go ahead and just make sure. Yeah, okay. We have like a lot of congratulations in here. Yep. That was the last question. We had a lot of repeats in there, so I just wanted to make sure. Baby Ernst, due September 2023. Come along for the ride. I'm so excited to share everything. I cannot wait for you to meet them. This is my life. This is my life now. It's hard to imagine the fact that, you know, only 3 years ago, I was in a completely different space, and, you know, having, like, life has never been so magical. Seriously, to look back and reflect on the fact that 3 years ago, I was, you know, quitting my job, scared shitless, had no clue what I was doing, lost a piece of my identity, to building a dream, multiple six-figure business, aligned in my purpose, living in my prosperity, moving in my power, having an incredible ripple effect, playing big, living out these dreams, and doing it while I get to grow this incredible little human. They're definitely a sweet soul, I'll tell you that. I cannot wait for this new adventure. And I can't wait to take all of you along with me. So thank you for being a part of my journey and allowing me to be a part of yours. The best is yet to come.